Hello and welcome to another beta testing video for Season 11 of Project Diablo 2. On the 4th day, after testing 3 classes, we have reached the Barbarian class, which was the most voted class on the YouTube poll. So I hope you Barbarians are happy, you got what you wanted, and let's see what we tested for the Barbarian. So in the video, we're going to go over a lot of builds interacting with Frenzy. This was one of the main changes to Barbarian this season. Instead of every 2 levels giving you 1 second of duration, now every 1 level gives you 1 second, so effectively 10-second increase. I know for some people this was not enough of a buff and they were not happy about it. Personally, I played a lot of Barb in the past. I played like Whirlwind Barbs, I played Throw Barbs before. War cries weren't really changed by this, but I played a lot of Barbs, and I like playing Barb, generally speaking. So I was very happy with this change. It felt significant enough to me. So with that said, I'm pretty happy with the Frenzy changes. In addition, they buffed Double Swing, which is something I was kind of asking for since Barbarian leveling was, in my opinion, the weakest or the slowest out of the bunch of like all the classes. So we tested a little bit of leveling with Double Swing as well, which is your normal run through main skill usually. In addition, you can bow in town, which is awesome. Bowing in town is a great thing. Everybody loves to bow in town. And yeah, I mean, they changed some items. We got like a few new items, like the Achilles Strike. They changed Ray Cores. They gave it enhanced damage. It gives bonus to double throw now. So a lot of very nice changes. And of course, who can forget, we have rune words in throwable weapons now. We tested a few of them. Sockets in throwable uniques, so a lot of very nice changes, especially for throw, but also for other builds, because Frenzy is this kind of skill that affects a lot of different builds. Now it is important to say, and I'm gonna keep repeating this because I see a lot of messages on the Discord that can be somewhat misleading, and my goal with these videos is never to be misleading. It's just to inform people of the results of my testing, not to claim to any higher truth or anything like that. Just to share what we found out on our testing. In the beta, there is no access to slams. Even if you can spawn items with sockets, you cannot test specific slams that can definitely affect gameplay quite a bit. In addition, there are some min-maxing of testing that are, in my opinion, unnecessary. So sometimes I usually don't spawn like perfect charms and things like that. I try to stay away from that. In order to simulate like an average experience and not necessarily the highest form of all builds. Sometimes I will test things in like a more maxed version of them, but that's not necessary for the testing, so just keep those things in mind. The idea of the testing is to find out like the scope of what something can do, or like the general ballpark, and not necessarily the exact numbers. So just like watch not just my content, but like in general beta content, like make sure to have that in mind. Like I don't want anybody like misleading themselves into thinking something is either not viable because it didn't work in the beta, or that it is definitely GG because somebody spawned like specific like charms and everything to make it work in a specific way, and maybe you can't make it work within the first 2 weeks and you just give up on it. So with that said, all of that heavy conversation, let's just pull the video and see how we did on our day number 4 of the beta. As I said, I start with leveling with Double Swing. I was pretty happy with it. We managed to kill Andy at level 10, pretty much easy. It was just like, I just went through the game and without even thinking about it, it was pretty easy. It took us 28 minutes because we were, you know, fumbling about, but overall it felt very smooth, very easy. The addition in damage is felt, even at that stage of the game, in my opinion, so it was very, very nice to have. After that, we, of course, took it to maps as well. I used the BK set as kind of like a budget approach to this build, and this will feel, for many people who played Berserk and maps, this will feel very similar. It has like very similar like attributes and feeling. Mostly the big buff is that Frenzy is now active more. The one benefit it does have, especially in tier 3s, is that it is safer than Berserk since you're not lowering your physical damage reduction. So possibly the main difference would be that hardcore players would prefer this maybe over softcore players preferring Berserk. That is a little bit stronger in my opinion. But overall, the difference was between them in terms of overall time to clear the same maps was pretty minor. So overall, if you want to run one over the other, you can do it. We did Ubers with both with similar gears, so generally speaking, again, you can do either one. Berserk being slightly stronger for bossing, so if you are going to be a dedicated bosser, I recommend going with Berserk. And here you can see us running Berserk as well. And the general scope of weapons we tested is Death Cleaver, Schaefer's, the Stone Crusher that was buffed to have even more physical resistance pierce for people who missed that change. Stone Crusher is still, in my opinion, not the most amazing weapon, but still now it can be a solid option for these two-handed barbarians. So again, these kind of weapons are great. You can of course use other rune words or other one-handed bases. You can obviously use Grandfathers and Doombringer, which are more like high-end gear choices. I didn't really test them because obviously I know they work. They're very, very strong. But as you can see, the whole frenzy duration is very, very nice and makes the whole experience mapping with these builds that have like frenzy as their main mobility tool very nice. The merc I'm using for all these builds was a Vigor merc. I gave her different setups from Wrath to Witchwild, and also I think we tested her with a damage bow as well, just to try not to have like have her do anything else, just like leeching to stay alive. We tested her with Templars, with Fortitude, so we tested a few different options. I even tested a Purgatory setup for her and a Purgatory setup for us. And overall, Berserk obviously being a great bosser, nothing here changed. I would say that Berserk is still your day one Ubers if you are looking to do something like that. And it is going to be, in my opinion, just about as strong for your day one Ubers. So that aspect didn't really change. But Double Swing is still like strong for leveling, and they both are okay for mapping. Slightly buffed, of course, because of the Frenzy buffs. So now, the next thing I wanted to test is Frenzy with Whirlwind. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to spin with two swords. I know that's an option. You can spin with like two strong weapons. But I really like Whirlwind with big pikes for the range, for the big damage. And I think that's, in my opinion, the way to spin. You know, everybody has their own ways to spin. Of course, you can run spin on double weapons. There's a lot of setups for them. I even ran like a double spin Asylum in the past for this kind of like Holy Bolt disco party type of barbarian. I might release a video on it at some point. So even though you can spin with two weapons, what I'm doing here is I have two weapons on my swap to charge my frenzy, and then I have my whirlwind on my main my main hand, or I don't know if main hand, just like my swap, I guess. And yeah, as you can see, we charge the whirlwind, we charge the frenzy, and then we swap to our pike. I'm using a steel pillar here, so again, not the most GG. You can craft much better stuff, or you can have like these crazy pikes that you make or find, you know, from drops. You can have them be ethereal as well and do like insane damage. So we're killing most things in one pass through, but some things will stay alive. It's not like the most GG option. And every now and then we'll swap back to our dual swords and we'll, you know, maintain the frenzy. I know for some people this may seem bothersome, but once per 30 seconds to do this didn't feel too bad to me. It definitely boosted. We tried with and without the frenzy, and it was faster to run it with the frenzy. So overall, I was happy with the results of this. I think this is a nice addition to Whirlwind. For people who do just want to hold right click with Whirlwind, I guess like it's fine, you don't have to use it. But for people who like you know, being more active when they're playing, just like being more awake, this for me added like interest in playing Whirlwind. Not that I didn't like Whirlwind before, it just felt more like you can finally get that speed that Assassin boasts whenever you run Whirlwind with burst of speed. So yeah, overall I was very happy with it. There is an issue of keeping the merc alive. I was considering skipping the Vigor merc at some point, just to have like a tankier merc who actually stays alive to give you a little bit more damage. But overall, I think Whirlwind can definitely enjoy the frenzy buffs, even if it is 30 seconds swap. Alternatively, you can use a dual-handed Whirlwind approach and then have like an easier time maintaining frenzy. But I don't think swapping is actually that hard, so it's really up to you what you prefer doing. I give it my stamp of approval. It seemed very solid. We did sub 5-minute tier 1 maps, and I believe we did 8.5-minute tier 3 map with not like the most GG gear, so Again, I'm pretty happy with it. You can come to your own conclusions. We encourage you on this channel to make your own decisions based on what you find fun and viable, and not just to take whatever I say as gospel. After that, we went to start testing Fro, and Fro, of course, also enjoys the frenzy buffs for mobility. The first clip I'm showing is from the new weapon, the Achilles Strike. I'm using dual Achilles Strike with an Atma just to see a more budget approach. Again, I only put dual runes and shale runes in the weapons to make sure I'm hitting my breakpoint and to get like very low enhanced damage. So as you can see, you can definitely use them and make them a lot stronger. I just wanted to show like a very budgety approach. Of course, they cannot be slammed here, so they're missing a lot of damage on them. But yeah, even with all that said, they were doing pretty okay. They were doing pretty nicely. We managed to clear, I believe, in 6 minutes. We cleared the sewers, and generally speaking, I didn't take like the budget approach too far. I used the in tier 3 map as well. In Throne, it was a little bit slow there. Like it didn't like kill things as fast. Obviously, it's a budget approach, so mostly restricted to tier 1s. But possibly with the right slimes, you can take Achilles to tier 3s as well and clear pretty well there. The main thing we wanted to test that day was the rune words on the weapons. I was very happy with their performance, and the main rune word that we were using, you saw in my stash maybe earlier, it is the wind rune word that throws these little tornadoes. These tornadoes will help you clear a little bit. They help with the damage, but also wind rune word gives you a lot of run walk speed, which is great. So as you can see, the way I'm playing it is I'll just run straight up to the packs, like I'm not like throwing from afar. So very like, you know, balls deep type of gameplay, where you want to run in, you know, make sure that you have your frenzy on your left click. So I charge it as I'm walking into things, so I don't really waste time like charging it. And I'm running in and I'm just charging frenzy. And whenever frenzy is ready, I just throw, and I walk a little bit, I throw again, and just, yeah, just like that. Walk and throw. So I kept here a footage of me clearing a full map just because I want to show how well it does. We were doing 4.5 minute sewers, which is a very good time for Barbarian in my opinion. I was kind of struggling to compete with any other builds on Barbarian, so this is not just like a very fun build. In my opinion, very dynamic, fun build to play. It is also very strong if you like min-max it more and more. These are of course just rune words, so you can craft even crazier weapons, but I was very happy with this. And just in general, I'm very happy for Fro to now not only rely on basically getting the F lacerator and that crazy craft. You can make like a consistent rune word that is not too hard to find. It's one Sir rune, so I was pretty happy with that. As you can see, like it does clear most things very very nicely. I did go back and look at the map like on the stream. Like I went back to look at the map to see are we actually clearing, and for the most part like 95% plus of the map was cleared. You are gonna leave like some stuff, but you just can't kill everything and be efficient. So that's just my recommendation for approach on this build. Make sure to throw some javelins or harpoons, whatever you're throwing, in the direction of the pack, and keep going. Stay like effective. You can see that we're maintaining good DPS. We're killing stuff at a very nice pace. So I was very happy with it overall. And for people who are worried about playing this on like maybe for people who have like more hand straining issues, you know, which is definitely a viable thing to think about when approaching this kind of build. Some people in the chat mentioned that they can bind like keys on the keyboard for double throw and for frenzy, and they felt like that was a lot more comfortable. So maybe you'd like to look into this. Don't let this stop you from trying this build out. It is a really fun build. I don't know how it will feel on controller, since I have seen Senpai play double throw on controller when he was doing the demonstration. I do think it should be possible. Might not be at the same speed, but maybe if you're good enough on the controller, it wouldn't feel like that much of a difference to you. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. I personally am not like a controller player. I'm big on the KBM, but glad to see all of the new controller people joining us too. Back to talking about the map. As you can see, we're 3.5 minutes in, and we already cleared most of the map. Again, going at a very high pace. Maintaining frenzy is not an issue at all. You can see that like you have a lot of time, and basically I'm not even thinking about maintaining the frenzy when I'm playing this build. I played a few more maps with it after the stream, just to see if like I can keep up like you know 5-6 maps in a row and not get tired of it. But it definitely felt great like the entire time. I do think that Wind Runeward is the go-to for me. Like if I would play this build, I'm not planning on playing Barb this season, but if I was making this build, Wind Runeward would be the go-to for me. Both for the tornado clear, both for the tornado clear and for the faster one walk, not necessarily just the damage. There are other rune words that you can look into, like Fury. Fury was very strong. Just generally for throw, we used it. We tried Lacerator as well if you want something more budget, or if you want amp. You can of course use Atmos for amp if you'd like more amp. I was using a High Lords for the attack speed. You don't always need the attack speed. It depends on the base and how many points you got into Frenzy at that point, but Frenzy should be max generally. So you can always get the IAS breakpoint without High Lords. So you definitely have a lot of options. As you can see, we completely destroy the boss. We have a total of 8-minute Phlegathon on Barbarian, which in my opinion is a very nice feat to have for the throw Barb. Sure, some monsters get away, but I think that's perfectly fine for whatever we were doing. As you can see, I'm walking back. We will see a few stuff staying behind, but for the most part, things look like they're dead. I was happy with this kind of results. For me, this is the kind of thing that is like, yeah, this is good enough for sure. And I would definitely recommend people run this for themselves, either on the beta to see how good it is and how good it can be, or on season 11 if you're a throw Barb. I really recommend checking out this Wind Runeward. So yeah, I believe this is the last clip, or maybe, oh no, I think we took this to Ubers as well. Just to demonstrate that you can do Ubers on this build as well and wouldn't be an issue. As you can see, we're running Wind, the Fury Runeward. Fury uses a Jaw rune, so if you prefer using a Lacerator, we tested that as well and was just as strong. So also extremely strong and viable. And over here, you can see us doing Ubers. As you can see, you're dodging a little bit, you're maintaining Frenzy, something that I apparently didn't do because I see my Frenzy's not fully charged there. But you can just dodge, and the bounces from the weapons on the minions definitely just kill. Yeah, that was the end of the testing on day 4. So as you can see, the things we're using, I tested the budget situations with Ariettes. I think I did Ubers with Ariettes and the Achilles Strike. We used like Fortitudes, we used the High Lords that I think I put back in my stash. The main gloves I was using is Drainers. I did one map with Steel Rends. Drainers felt better generally for all the builds that I was testing on Barb. So in general, like Drainers feels great. Noscoil I used on most builds for the attack speed and deadly strike. You can also use other belts. You can use the Girdle, the new Girdle, for more defense, especially if you're playing on hardcore. That's a great one to use. As you can see, I was running the Ubers with like a budget setup, and I only ran like half of my inventory with charms. I didn't fill my inventory with charms to show how budget you can go. So you can definitely do a lot with this build on a budget. We run maps with like half of like charm inventory with like Ariettes and other like more budget approaches, BK Ring, Ravens. So again, a lot of potential for this build, both in budget and in high-end gear. In general, I think like if you're looking for the high-end gear, you'll most likely end up using things like either Veil of Steel, Rake Wars. I tested a Purgatory setup with like a bunch of ethereal options, with like Lacerator and with Wind. And again, like this Wind Runeward, Sur and L, extremely cheap if you think about how expensive F Lacerators are normally, for insane results. So making 2 of those or 1 of those and a Fury is a really good investment for having like top end mapping gear before like all these. Wow, we actually got a really nice roll. I rolled this once and we got really nice deadly strike. Now I think about it, I didn't notice that. So yeah, this is a really good investment for having like such good mapping weapons. You can of course always craft later and create like crazy stuff, but I was very happy with these performances. On the way, you can use like mid-tier rune words to map with if you don't find any uniques, but I'm pretty sure these will be pretty common, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But you can definitely go for all sorts of other rune words in throwable weapons. Let me go over this. I noted a few of them that I thought would be maybe interesting. So I put down King's Grace, Strength as like options that you can look at early on for budget rune words. You can also use Lawbringer maybe. I don't know how good Lawbringer is going to be and how much people will actually need it at that point. But yeah, these are like rune words that I noted for mid-tier, cheap rune words you can do that would be efficient. I kind of had an idea of like testing Venom as well for having like a poison throw Barb. I haven't tested it yet. I might test it like on my own free time to see if it's viable. For people wondering about bleed throw, of course, bleed throw is simply you take the lacerators, you run the same bleed setup, but you just put bleed jewels in them to increase your bleed damage. Generally speaking, I don't know if bleed throw is necessarily going to be the main throw type, because bleed already had enough damage to clear. The main issue for bleed was mobility, and having something like wind rune word really increases your mobility. So I really like having like a wind on like any throw barb at this point. Like I would really recommend people to just try this. The faster one walk buffs are just they feel really good, to the point where we didn't even need a vigor merc. We just used Blessed Aim merc with like yeah, he has like pretty budgety stuff right now, but I tested him with more expensive stuff like a Pride rune ward and a Templars. So yeah, a lot of options for the Barb. With that said, that was our day 4. I really enjoyed playing the Barb. I hope that everybody who's looking to play Barb on season 11 is going to have a great time. And yeah, I really recommend trying out the Frenzy, no matter what build you're playing, unless you're playing Leap and Warcry, I guess. They wouldn't need it too much. But yeah, I really recommend it. If you are bossing, make sure to look into Grimward. It was buffed, which is really great. Or if you're doing tier 4s, you can definitely try Grimward as well. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. It really does help a lot, and hopefully you guys want to do it as well. So yeah, I appreciate you all. Have a good continuance of the beta week or week and a half that we're on. Have a good whatever you're having. I'll see you on the next stream or video, wherever I catch you. And till the next time, bye.